First, we have our students, our schools, Free River Elementary.
Yep.
There a mic there?
Go alone.
Good evening. I have Ben Bronson and Nora Ramsey with me, and they're part of the second grade. And it's Mrs. O'Boyle's second grade class. And second graders have been learning how wind, water, and even ice can change the earth to create magnificent landforms. And they've been doing investigation, seeing cornmeal and pouring water on it to see erosion. And they've designed 3D models to represent land and water on Earth. So the kids are going to tell us about it. So Ben, do you want us to tell us?
Waveforms were made by erosion and cave. Erosion is when wind or water breaks down rock or land and deposits it somewhere else, like sand at beach. We made a plateau and used water to form a canyon. Then we use materials to block a landslide from happening. Rivers often start on mountains or high land areas and flow down, usually ending at an ocean. We sprayed water to rivers form and flow down the mountains. Volcanoes can be from land or under the ocean. Volcanoes can quickly change the land around it. We won't have some changes are and some fall slow. We make
3D models.
3D models and had lots of landforms to choose from. It was fun.
And this is what it looked like when they were making their final landform models. And some of the results had mountains, rivers, volcanoes, caves, plateaus, ponds, lakes, oceans, and grassy plains. So I asked them what their favorite part of this project was. So what was your favorite part when you were making it? Making the mountain. Can you point out your mountain that you made? It's awesome. And what was your favorite part? Can you point out your cave that you made? There you go. Do you guys have any questions for them?
Why was it your favorite?
It had the only materials that I
Any questions? No? I'll send you a picture.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to non-public.
I make a motion, we go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, B and C.
Second. Seconds, session. Thanks. Joe? Yes. Beth?
Yep.
Myself, yes. On?
Yes.
Motion to exit non-public.
I'll make a motion to exit public. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Second. All right, second by Joe. Discussion. Joe? Yes. Beth?
Yes.
Myself, yes. John?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, what is the next? Recognition. We have the second trimester honors. Anyone else want to read this list?
We're just reading.
Yeah, just the names. The second page.
Okay. It's not that many.
Oh,
All right. All right, so these are the ones that received A's in the second semester, grade 6, Jacayla Caspo, Camille Coakley, Arden Gafford, Peyton Leo Bruno, Brooke Narrow, Olivia Scarpo, Emily Stackhouse, Chloe Sutton, and Abigail Unger. Seventh grade was Branson Anklitz, Zoe Darling, Rachel Ledger, Hadley Luquette, Jacoby Luquette, Ellie Mayo, Gavin McManus, Ruby Plender, Cameron Slapowski, Brody Smith, Thomas Waterhouse. Eighth grade, you have Elizabeth Boyd, Molly Karen, Courtney Fisher, Madison Giano, Madeline Ledoux, Lacey Lemire, Kiana Pastor, Amelia Ranlett, Kobe Sutton, and Jackson Wall.
Congratulations to those students.
Congratulations.
All right, Raymond. Good.
Go ahead.
Raymond High School, second quarter principals list. Students who have received all A's in the second quarter. Grade 9. Corey Carter, Avery Dean, Isabella Gott, Olivia LaRochelle, Jasmine Solnier, Leah Unger. Grade 10 is Andrea Alvino, Nicola Emovic, Eleanor Brewitt, Maddie Callahan, Madison Doopy, sorry about that one, Annalise Hetherington, Brooke Ledger, Riley Lloyd, Magnus Lord, Alyssa Tilton, and Logan Woods. Grade 11, Jordan Diaz, Abigail Gilbert, Trevor Goulet, Claire Mikulak, terrible at this, Theodore Pekalski, Amber Sarofian, and Christopher So. Grade 12, Caden Calvani, Aiden Howard, Alexander Lamoth, Ethan Mackey, Molly McDonough, Jackson Nerasessian, Juliana Rodriguez, and Tucker Silva. All right, I'll do it. That's fine. How much worse can we get? Raymond High School third quarter principals list. Students who have received all A's in the third quarter. Wait, what did you say more? No?
The previous one should have been the second quarter. Yeah.
Second quarter? Oh, third quarter?
Yeah.
Just did,
It's a little
no?
different. A couple of one's the second quarter. The first one was the second. This one's the one you got in front of you. Different.
These look the same or the type?
It's somewhat different. There's a couple different names.
Okay. No, I'm confused. Which one did I just read?
I read the second one.
All right. Here we go, third. Grade 9, Corey Carter, Avery Dean, Isabella Gott, Sophia Hughes, Jasmine Solnier, Leah Unger. Grade 10, Andrea Alvino, Nicola Amovic, Eleanor Brewitt, Maddie Callahan, Madison Dupuy, Annalise Hetherington, Brooke Ledger, Magnus Lord, Alyssa Tilton, Sarah Wilkins. Grade 11, August Gafford, Abigail Gilbert, Gianna Gott, Trevor Goulet, Claire Mikulak, Amber Sarupian. Grade 12, Hayden Calvani, Aiden Howard, Alexander Lamoth, Molly McDonough, Juliana Rodriguez, Kalia Shea, and Tucker Soap.
Congratulations.
Long list. Did we get them? All right, moving on. Public comment. We're opening public comment for 30 minutes. Anybody here for public comment? No. Just state your name, please.
Or Ulrich. Good evening, board of members and admin. Here to talk about what happened last week at the middle school. I'll try to keep my language PG. To say I'm upset is an understatement. The level of concern that has been building with the aggressive nature of students to the point that made me come tonight. Last week, a student has assaulted many staff members on multiple occasions, did it again. A teacher heard screaming in the pod and came out to try to help calm the student, which at that point, the teacher told the student they couldn't come back into the classroom. The student tried, but thankfully the teacher kept the door closed, but unfortunately was assaulted, slammed into, kicked, and even kicked so hard in the stomach that it left the outline and footprint on her stomach. All while the other students in the classroom watched, heard, getting upset with the entire ordeal. I keep hearing that we're hiring behavioral specialists, yet things like this keep happening. And not just at the middle school, the high school, the elementary school, also have their same problems to the point of even principals getting assaulted. When is enough enough? I understand that removing a student from public school, placing them in a specialized school is very costly, but at what point do we move in that direction? Is it when a student gets hospitalized, staff member hospitalized? Thankfully, in this instance, the teacher wasn't badly injured. But what if she was pregnant? What if this ended in a loss of an unborn child? And this is only one side of the issue at hand. What about the other 15 to 20 students that were in their room? There's no way any person can come back into a classroom, be able to calm and reassure the students that she's okay and everything is okay, and continue the process of properly educating our students. So again, I'll ask and then I'll go sit down because I'm not allowed to go back and forth with anyone and on fear of being locked out of my house and grounded. When is enough physical and mental abuse from the same students does it take to have things changed? Thank you.
Thank you. Else?
My name is Rylan Clark. I'm a senior here at Raymond High School. I apologize for the weird dress. I have a pageant event after this. It's not typically my outfit of choice. We are here today, us students who could make it, because a lot of us do have jobs and sports and such, to show support, to show some form of support and to almost express our feelings in the most appropriate way we could find when we heard about this issue. Recently, there were a number of teachers whose contracts were not renewed for the next coming school year. Whatever reason that being is to each its own. However, one of the teachers hits so close to us and hits so close to home. This teacher is not just our teacher. She's our class advisor, the senior class advisor. We understand as seniors, most of us, who are not all seniors in this room, that yes, we will not be here back next year, but we would love to have her come back next year. Watching and learning and growing with her for the past 3 years has been something that this school, one of the only things I think it's provided us at this point. And knowing that the grades below us will not get to have her as an experience is truly heartbreaking. To put this in the best words possible, I think the students who decided to come out today are purely out of frustration. It's hard to get kids out of the house. It's hard to get them to not, we all could be out hanging out with friends at practice, doing whatever we want right now. But this is how upset we are. There were other number of other ways we wanted to go about this, but I think this is the most appropriate and age appropriate for us. This teacher is one of the only teachers that I can personally say, and I don't want to speak for everyone on this one, but I can personally say is not just here for the paycheck, is not just here for the pay cut, not just here to say she's a teacher, not here because she fell into this. She's here because she wants to be here for us. She shows up every single day for us students. And I deeply ask you to reconsider some of the cuts you have recently made to us and to our school and to this program. It is absolutely heartbreaking seeing this teacher be let go and seeing the effects this will have on our school. If you think what happened at the beginning of the school year at the high school was wild, I can't imagine what next year is going to be like without this teacher. Our students, our schools, our students.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, well, if you change your mind, we got 20 more minutes to go. Student representative to the school.
Alrighty. So, first things first, the juniors had their SATs today. Not much of note. Some kids got a little rowdy, though thankfully none of them were punished. I think it was just mostly out of boredom. But on to the main thing. I will be meeting with Mr. Danable, the principal, as you know, over some concerns that I have seen from fellow students with school spirit and overall traditions that are lack of their traditions. So I will be meeting with him on Friday to discuss some things. And the meeting will mostly go we'll work together, hopefully, to sort things out. So I don't really have much of an exact plan because I want us to plan together on what we can do together and what I can share back to Site Council and the rest of the school body. I hope with also Site Council's guidance and influence, I'll be able to make a big change with this. And hopefully with this meeting, it'll start the beginning of many more meetings where I can express feelings, good or bad, from the student body to admin, and obviously to the school board. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Anyone? Nobody? Change your mind? All right. Monthly financial update. When I get them to come and talk, what wants to talk about?
I'm just waiting for them to leave because this is the boring part when I go over my stuff.
Oh, come on down. Just state your name, please.
McKenna Brackett. I'm a junior here, so I will be here next year. And I'm sorry, excuse me, but I think you guys have made a really, really big mistake, and I think you chose the wrong person because you not only took somebody that we all trust to talk to, you took somebody that we trust with our education. We have very little teachers here, and I feel I'm speaking for everybody here, who actually teach. And she teaches. So what you guys did to this teacher was not only just upsetting to us, but it was upsetting for us to see her like that. And I'm just not understanding at all why that decision was made, or if it was personal stuff outside of the school, or just people not liking this teacher. But it needs to be reconsidered because she has done so much for this school. I cannot even begin to list it. She's done so much for the senior class. She's the reason they have a class trip this year, which they didn't know if they were gonna have. And you guys need to reevaluate this because it's not just for us is for the other staff there too, because she's not only there for us, she's there for everybody. And this isn't just like talking. No, she educates every single person at this school, whether you're in her class or not. There's so much to learn from this person, and I've just barely begun. And not being able to have one more year with this teacher is ruining it for a lot of the people here.
Here.
My name is Jerzel Dufo, and I'm a senior at Raymond High School. I'm here for the same reason that all these other kids are here, to help fight for one of our beloved teachers. And one thing that I can definitely say is I haven't really seen a teacher since Mr. Hayes kind of had like school spirit like this and like connect with kids and want to connect more than just the level of teaching, that she wants to actually learn about the kids and learn about what's going on in their lives and not just teaching them one-on-one in a way that I can't really word this right, but in a way that like some teachers just want the paycheck. They just want to get in and get out. They just want their class to be over, grade the test, and they don't really see the kids as like students. And she lets the kids express themselves and see themselves in a way where they want to do something. They want to be something. And for me, Miss Lemieux has helped me. She helped me get into college. She helped me get into various different colleges. And I honestly couldn't tell you guys where I would be in high school without Miss Lemieux. She's guided me in so many ways that I don't think I would get in other aspects of life. So this is, as much as this is a thank you to Miss Lemieux, I really think you guys should review the letting go, or I don't know how to word it, of this teacher. And that's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. What's the financial?
The financials before you tonight, we're supposed to go over at the last board meeting, so these are through March 31st, 2025. The first page is the revenues. In regards to the first 4 or 5 lines, we're expecting to receive all of that money still, with the exception of Medicaid reimbursement. What we have received in excess revenue so far this year is the special education aid. You can see that the after-school program fees and the before-school program fees, we've already received more than what we budgeted for that, as well as tuitions. The impact fees, we still have a shortfall, which that won't change before the end of the year. We only get 1 check for that each year. Indirect costs, we have an excess of that. While we're at this point, our indirect cost rate for this year was 4.9%. In regards to our grants, we just got notification this week that that is now increasing for next fiscal year to 5.9, so a whole point percentage. Not bad. And then the vocational aid is an excess as well. Any questions on the revenues?
Are the Medicaid reimbursement, what we see is what you think we're gonna get, or you think we'll get some?
I think we'll get a little bit more, but I think it's still going to be a significant shortfall. So if you remember, a couple years ago, we decreased it from 350 to 175 because of the new laws that had happened. And now we just seem to be even taking a bigger hit.
And you said the indirect cost, is that what you said?
Yeah, indirect costs.
Is going up by the 1 percentage point
Mhm.
from 5.9 to about 6.9?
From 4.9 to 5.9.
And who does that go to?
So that is like administration fees for managing the grants. So when we have like Title I, Title IIA, Title IV,
Money
we can build that into, yeah.
Thank you.
Because it's hard to get it to the right dollar amount.
Sure.
Right? So sometimes, maybe if there's only $125 left in a grant, we really can't do much with that, so we'll take that as indirect cost.
Want to finish or?
It's up to you. You're the chair.
Go with this.
All right.
Desiree Depot. I'm a sophomore at this high school. And I just want to let you guys know that going into high school as an eighth grader, I always knew that I could go to Miss Lee if I needed to talk to anyone. In eighth grade, going into freshman year, all the teachers are always talking about how you need to find someone who's a trusted adult that you can tell things to people. And I never had that until I had her in a class. And that was this year. And I've gotten my chance to get close with her. And she's helped me. I've had my own struggles. I don't know if any of you guys are aware, but I've definitely struggled this year in school. And Miss Lemieux was definitely there the whole way in every single subject, because she was like my teacher and my friend. And this is a very big mistake. And I can say that most of these people back here, Miss Lemieux is their friend and their teacher. And their best teacher. That's it.
Thank you. Before we continue, thank you guys for all coming out here. We'd love to hear from you. I mean, you're probably looking at us why we aren't saying anything, because we really can't, because it is a personnel matter. But I just want to let you guys know that. Thank you for coming out here.
My name is Abigail Lucko. I'm a senior at Raymond High School. And coming from a small town like Raymond, for everyone, you become a fan. And because of this situation, it has only torn that into more pieces than it's already in. Our school spirit has been completely down. No one wants to participate in anything anymore. But the second that you walk into your trusted teacher's room, you feel safe again. I mean, I didn't want to come to school at the beginning of the year when there was 5 fights within the first month. But I still came because I felt safe in that room. And for other people to not be able to experience that with a teacher at this school is really saddening. And I know that it hurts everyone in here and outside of here. We're all very busy people with very busy lives. And I think it's important to take note of the fact that this many people actually did show up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Else?
Dylan Felix, a senior here at Raymond. Going to school has always been a hard thing for kids nowadays, right? After what we had to go through as a country, obviously. But I didn't want to go back to school. Yeah, I can't talk for these guys behind me. I just want to talk from my own experience. I didn't want to go back to school. I went into freshman year, I felt alone. I didn't really have anybody to talk to. It's the only teacher that reached out to me that year was Mr. Hayes, but it was really just to get my grade up in his class. But going into sophomore year, I was a little more confused, and I was wondering where I was headed school wise and how I was going to do moving forward at Raymond. But taking geometry in my sophomore year, I never wanted to show up at school more, to spend time around a teacher, to learn from a teacher, and to be guided by a teacher. And I think the words that she's spoken to kids and the guidance that she's given to kids, not even just based off of just math problems, or just what's the square root of a triangle or whatever. I felt accepted by a teacher. I felt like I was worth more than just my attendance. I felt like I was an actual student that she wanted to teach and not just collect a paycheck off of. I feel like the people behind me agree with me that she does take time to understand her kids that she has. And regardless of grade, a lot of the seniors have a better connection with her, but no matter who you are, you could go to Miss Lemieux and you could be taught, you can be guided, or you can just be listened to. And I just think that the choice should be reevaluated and that she is genuinely one of the best teachers I've ever had in my entire life. That's all I can say.
Anyone else? Marjorie, continue.
Any more questions on the revenue page? The page after that is the summary of general fund expenditures by object code through March 31st. Typically, the first third of that page is due to benefits and professional services for students that we are seeing savings on this year. And then about 2/3 down, we have savings from student tuitions as well. After the board met last month and it was approved to purchase the curriculum for $125,000 and the periodicals, that's why that line towards the bottom is over by $152,000 because I included that in there. That was not, we met in, I don't remember when we met. Anyway. So that's why that's in there because you guys made that decision in April. That's why. So right now we're still looking with those expenditures about $800,000. Any questions on the expenditures?
Yeah, the communication line, Marjorie, is,
Yes.
the expenses went up about 9,600 from last. What's the cost of that?
That's all of our First Light and
Indeed.
no, all of our telephone lines.
It's the
I can't-
VPN, isn't it?
Huh?
The VPN lines or whatever?
Yes. So if you remember when we're going through the budget season, we had said we were gonna have Matt and Lisa work on that so we can try to get rid of those. So that is now in the works, but we are still going to be over and I'm just trying to adjust it to where it's supposed to be. So we do purchase orders to encumber that money throughout the year. And then right about now, we start to, like, we're running out of that money in the purchase order, so I've adjusted it.
So the changes that are Matt and
Lisa,
Lisa started to implement, I thought were implemented, so that's on me.
no, it was a process.
When do you expect that process to be completed?
Soon. I need to check, I need to follow back up with them.
Definite soon or?
No. That's me. Thank you, John, for putting that on my radar. I can, I'll email them tonight and see where we can.
You could
Yeah.
write a memo maybe as to whatever we find from that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. But on the same point, like, electricity and oil and that stuff. So I adjusted the electricity lines because we had savings on those, I felt like, so I decreased those POs. So we'll have more money there. And then, I think we're expecting one more oil delivery at the schools. So once those are done, I'll close those purchase orders out too. So there might be a little money left there too.
And you said electricity is down?
Yeah.
Is that's in addition to the reduction we put in the budget for the solar array that is, or the, but the, excuse me, the LED lighting.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's why the reduction.
So it's an addition above and beyond that reduction?
I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember when we calculated this year's budget. I remember calculating next year's budget.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't,
Well, just, I know because when the budget committee cut out the lease payment,
correct.
they didn't cut out the savings
Right.
or add back in because we miraculously were supposed to still save that
You're
apparently.
right. Yes,
Thank you.
welcome. Any questions there?
So between the both, we're gonna be around 1.2.
No, because I already made before these went out, I adjusted the electricity lines, the purchase orders. The only ones I did not adjust were the oil.
No, I'm sorry, I meant between the more revenue we're getting in, it looks like,
Yes,
and
yes, yeah. We had that discussion, like right when I was sending these out, to you guys again. So 8 + 4.
So you're confident the 1.2 is where we're gonna be, all things being equal in the sense that no unforeseen things come along? Thank you.
Well, then after that, you have the summary of lunch fund revenues and expenditures through March. Currently, I'm showing, a general fund transfer of $53,000. We are still seeing savings in regards to the expenditures. And the only thing that really throws that off is the revenues, if we're gonna come in where we need to be or not. But I'm right now expecting to receive everything. And then once I get into this month, I'll start diving deeper and asking Elise where she thinks we might be sales wise, because I know she's still making changes in the food service department to try to increase that revenue.
I know the price of water. So
So,
I know the price of water went up.
I hear that.
And again, if anybody ever wants to go to one of the schools and have lunch, just give us a call. One of us will go down with you. Tony did it.
Hey, I'm
It was fun.
always game.
You're welcome. And then after
Their
that
best
is
behavior
the,
too.
huh?
Everyone was on their best behavior that day too.
You were on your best behavior too, Tony. And then after that is the detail of expenditures by object codes. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions on that.
Okay, moving on. Audit report review.
And switch gears. I believe you all have it, correct? In the agenda packet?
yes.
So the first thing is, the letter from the auditors basically saying what their responsibility is, the scope. If we're in compliant with ethics and requirements. But you all typically like to see what our, what is on page 3 of that is, which is basically our, findings that the auditors find. So the first one is the deputy treasurer, which is repeat comment. The second is the stale dated checks, which I've talked to you guys in the past about. I'm currently have taken that on myself this year. So over the past 2 months since I got this and it still wasn't getting better, I have personally reached out to all of the people so that we don't have to do the state of New Hampshire unclaimed property filings. So I've been emailing people and calling them, and in the manifest that you guys have been getting, we've been voiding and reissuing a lot of these checks. So I'm working hard at fixing that. A new one this year was the tracking of the vending machine sales. We typically don't track that. The vending and a la carte on the financial statements just go into one line. I've talked to Elise about that. We can actually track the vending and the a la carte. So I'm gonna I'll create a separate revenue line for that, specifically because the auditors want it to be. So that will be I will be making a journal entry at the end of this year to create that line and to pinpoint it out so we can get rid of that. And then,
Logic for us having to be more diligent about tracking that.
I think the way that they were looking at it, they thought that we were claiming like $50,000 worth of vending revenue. And we're not, because it's vending and a la carte. So if you wanted to go downstairs and just buy a bag of chips, that's what a la carte is. We've never broken out. The auditors always have to find something. This is, right, yeah. So this is just one of,
A box.
Well, I'm guessing probably because we use the same chips down there as you're putting in a machine, that's.
right.
Where they have, so.
Right, yeah, and we have a new system now, we have a new tracking system that Tasha had implemented when she was here for Mosaic. And then we also do have the card machines now at the vending machines. So watch this. I'm gonna clean that up and then they're gonna make me break it out by school. So I'll have middle school vending and high school vending. Middle school à la carte and high school à la carte. So you'll be seeing a change to the financial statements for that. And then, huh?
Giddy up.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta pick your battles, right? It's a battle, fine. And then the last finding that they had was the school district meeting for bonds. So they're basically saying that they noted during discussion with us in May that the school district entered into a lease agreement for $3.6 million without formally meeting with the town voters for approval. They're saying even though we have legal approval and it's permitted by this New Hampshire Department of Revenue, that there was no dedicated formal meetings to discuss the lease with the community. So, and then I went to Terry and I'm like, how many meetings did we have to discuss this throughout the year? So.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, within our statutory rights, the legislature changed that number of years ago. As you said, DRA was all over it, good to go. And we had a number of meetings on it. Last count I heard was 22. That sticks in my mind. I might remember that for the life. Is there any discussions with the auditors to say, well, we were above board in everything we did. We did it legally, well within statute. And why is this there? Because that's a stain on us in a sense, right? But it shouldn't be there because we didn't do anything that was not above board and done correctly.
And they had conversations with me. I gave them all of the documentation from legal. I gave them all the documentation from the Department of Revenue, which is why they're saying that, but because we didn't have a town meeting, they're just, so.
Even though statutorily, there's no law that says that. It's for a bond. Yeah, we have to do that, but
Exactly.
for a lease, it's not the situation where.
Correct. We had many conversations and when the auditors were there using Terry's office, like I was even like, Terry, I'm like, they're having a problem with this. I'm like, this might be like a thing because, you know, we do the audit in the fall and then with them wrapping it up, I was like, really? I'm like, this is what's happening right now. So, but 2 findings that will be gone next year. Maybe 3.
Why don't we ask the ICPA why they put this in here?
Joe wants to start attacking the AICPA.
Jeez. Well, no, not that. Why they put it? I mean, they should be telling, I mean, they're putting stuff that was legally done.
It does, and it notes that, you know, even though you did it legally, it's getting unnecessary, yeah.
It's unnecessarily, you know.
It's almost like someone called them and told them like, hey, look at this, but they just happened to notice during discussions. Come on.
So the auditor, one of the things that they ask me every year is, oh, did you enter into any new leases? I can't lie to them. Yeah, but you're gonna see it. So yes, here it is. And I'm not a liar anyway, you know.
I like that in our BA.
I can't do it. If I tell a lie, you're seriously gonna know. And so, you know, again, it's gonna be gone, but they're basically saying that, you know, we should have held a formal meeting with the voters.
Warrant article this year about it, right?
Yeah. I'm only one person that's sitting on the board, but I think, hey, listen.
Yeah, we should have that removed. Can we?
So this is the thing too. So at other districts I've worked at, it's been a while because I've been with you guys for so long at this point. It feels like, at my last district, some of the school boards would actually like the auditors to come in and discuss such things with them. So if you would like that, I can have probably either the manager or the principal auditor come in here and have this discussion with you guys.
Is that
Or
right?
But we pay a set contract.
Oh, that's what I want to know. I
Right away.
took your approach on that one.
Yeah. Or I could email them and say, hey, this is where the board's at. Can you clarify this? For them?
I just like the rationale as to why. Like, what does this, or how does this further the report? Like, I don't,
Yeah, I agree. I just don't
it's
understand
unnecessary.
why it's put there when we're well within our means to do so. We have an explanation. And if they feel they need to come in and talk to us, as long as we're not paying for it, yeah. It work for everybody. I mean, I just,
Paying for this report.
yeah. Like, no.
I do have a question,
Go ahead.
about my report actually. So did I say my report first or did Riley come in and then I said my report? I don't remember.
That was like so long
I know,
ago. and
I remember.
that's the guy.
Okay, thank you. Trying to figure out.
Yeah, because you were,
First.
you were
That's the council.
public comment.
I don't
Oh, you weren't.
know.
Riley.
Ryland Clark.
Yeah, you
So-
went first.
I don't think so,
No,
because
The
it's,
first girl?
public.
because it was public comment and
Comment
then
was
you.
first, yeah.
She was first and then you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because no one else is coming up.
That's right, then.
Yep.
And if the gentleman spoke first
Oh, yeah.
and then Ryland. Yeah, okay, so
Got it.
that was like so long ago.
Ethan, sorry, man.
I
I'm just trying to figure out some stuff.
That was like the hardest question of the night, Ethan.
We're not through the night yet, Marjorie.
it's only been an hour.
So far.
Ask us what we need for breakfast, so.
So it's every day.
Then getting into the regular audit, so on page 1, it goes in to talk about the independent auditor's report. They have stated, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the government activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the Raymond School District as of June 30th, 2024. Before I continue, I basically just try to highlight some stuff in here for you guys. Do you have any questions before I go through? Okay. Then on page 14, that's the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in the fund balance. This page basically represents where the revenue came from and where it was spent. By the function codes that we use, if it was instruction, student support, instructional staff, general administration, and so forth. It also goes on to list the bonds down below. And just so everybody is on the same page, the high school roof bond that ended this past August 2024, and the middle school building will be ending this August of 25. Then on page 36, this is basically breaking down the governmental activities and fiduciary funds net position. And I typically refer you guys to note 14 on the governmental fund balances. So you have our prepaids and then the inventory, which would be for food service. The capital projects that we have. And then the expendable trust for the CRFs, and then the voted appropriation. And then this year it actually continues on to page 37. And that's where it shows you the encumbrances that we had at the end of the year, and then the unassigned retained, the 2.5 retention. Questions there? And then on page 51, it is the report on internal controls over the financial reporting. So again, their independent auditors report saying that during our audit, they did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that they considered to be material weaknesses. And then on page 53, basically the same thing, but a report on compliance for each major federal program and report on internal control. So that would be our grants. And again, under their opinion on each major federal each major federal program. It says, in our opinion, the Raymond School District complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on each of its major federal programs for the year ended June 30th, 2024. And that's how I sum up a 60-page audit. Any questions, concerns?
It's not really related to this.
Oh, okay.
How much money do we get federally, roughly, annually? Kind of a lot, I know, but like,
Because the way the grants have been falling, it's been a little bit over $1 million, but that was with the ESSER funds. We will be receiving less than that.
700,000 around that ballpark.
Yeah, so the threshold to be audited for your grants is $750,000. I don't, trying to think way back somewhere in my brain if they've thought about hiring that, but I think they did increase it just recently to the 750.
well, we've been hearing a lot of news about, the federal government withholding money from
Mhm.
states that don't comply with certain things. And I was thinking to myself, how much money do they really give us? It's not all that much, right? I mean,
But I think a lot of it goes from, like Medicaid would come directly from the federal.
Medicaid's a federal.
But there are other things that go.
Yeah, even though it's not a federal grant, a lot of that money's from them too.
Yeah, so it goes to the state and then comes to us, so.
Yeah.
I think like Maine, they're gonna see the.
The two big ones are Title I, Title II, that are federal grants, but the other ones there's some federal money tied to that too.
New Hampshire, most of it's federal money.
Yes.
See, but then I also don't know if they're, because it hasn't really affected us yet. Like, are they gonna start going after the adequacy aid, the special education aid, that kind of stuff? Like technically, they're not grants, it's money that's given to us based on certain situations. So
That's money
I get
from the
nervous.
state, right? That's your state school tax.
Oh, that's,
Adequacy money?
well, the adequacy, but that.
Yeah, that's,
right.
Again, it's $4,000 per kid, roughly.
They wanna get from. Okay.
good. Are you all set? No?
Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you.
All right, moving on.
Nice. Start with Amy since you got shortchanged last time.
Like,
You like our
works. Just giving you paper copies because I found an error in my one that I maybe left wrong. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was given to us from the guy.
Yeah.
But we already have it.
You heard me in the gym.
They gave you a paper copy of the principal's report. Because I had made some errors, so I wanted to update it. I just want to give you 3 highlights. There is plenty of data in the principal's report that we look at and act on every day. But we also know that school culture affects staff morale, student engagement, and ultimately the behavior data that we are looking at tonight. So before I review all the behavior data, I want to just really quickly highlight 3 enrichment and family and community engagement activities that you're going to note in the principal report that I gave you. Specifically in February, we began a weekly student recognition program that we call Bullfrog Proud. And we help making our school a better place. Students are recognized for going above and beyond, helping their classmates, teachers, or staff. And each week we call students down and they put their name on a frog and they put it in our pond. And the goal is to fill our pond and fill our school with students who are making our students a better place, our school a better place. We want to focus on the positivity and all the good things that are happening in the school. Our goal is over the summer, we're going to take a bulletin board down and paint a mural, and that will be our pond that will be permanent and just keep adding frogs. In March, we began our monthly all-school morning meetings. These were part of the LRES community before COVID and have not happened since 2020 or 2019. These are student-led, which continues to our emphasis on creating and supporting student leadership opportunities. During our March morning meeting, which was the first of the year, the 3rd grade chorus performed for the whole school. It was actually a huge success. Every single student enjoyed it. At the end, we played popular music and kids danced in their seats and clap and cheer as they watched pictures from that following month. We are holding our next whole school meeting in April, which will be on Earth Day next week, and the 2nd grade will be leading it for us. Also in April was the first meeting of the 50th anniversary committee for LRES. LRES is celebrating its 50th anniversary in the fall of 2026. So we are beginning early to plan a year-long celebration centered on student learning, but also community engagement. Allison McCass, who was a student at LRES when it opened, she's a teacher on our staff. Betty Ann Leclerc, who was a teacher when the school opened the first year and who continues to work at LRES today. Dana Zulager, Krista McLean, and myself. We're working with the Historical Society, reaching out to many community members, even a former school board member who was on the original building committee in the 70s. And we're going to to celebrate LRES and to create a learning opportunity for students. So that was our first meeting in April. So we're all very excited about that. All right. So now moving on.
Well, you're going on, a little tidbit of information. There was only one 6th grade class ever to be there.
Yes.
Voila.
And actually,
You're
I've been
looking at-
reading.
I'm looking at one of them.
So I've been reading a lot about it, and Dana is involved in the Historical Society, and she is just filling up our shared file folder with pictures and news articles. And one of the things we're excited to do is get our 3rd graders involved in collecting oral histories. So they'll be interviewing you and
You tell Dana that if she can find a picture of Mr. Harmon in grade 6 in that building,
you can.
I will buy her an ice cream.
Okay.
Only an ice cream?
That's the standard thing here, you know?
Okay, so moving on. So anyways, we are working. Enrollment, we are holding pretty steady. We are currently at 328. I did update so that you can see and compare the data from this trimester to the first report I did as well as the second, and you have that in front of you. But I'll just quickly go down from January 27th to April 4th. We had 132 minor referrals, 317 major referrals with 449 total, representing 70 students. We had 9 out of suspensions, which was 12 days, and it was fewer than 10 students, therefore I didn't report that. Our top 5 infractions by majors is physical aggression, out of bounds, defiance, inappropriate language, and disruption. As far as bullying, we only had 1 report this year and it was substantiated. And then I do list many upcoming events that are coming up. And then I can go to more detailed behavior data if you'd like me to, or we can stop there if you have any questions.
you going over your slide? Do you not?
It's up to you. I can. So if I was looking at data by month as compared to last year, you will see our referrals are up substantially. And it has been every month this year. Obviously June or April is short, but we ended it on April 4th. So that's a little. I talked to, and you know, I wasn't here last year. I talked to the two other administrators who were, and they said that they would attribute this increase to two things. One, an increase in behaviors, but also an increase in accuracy of reporting. And so we have made a bigger effort to make sure that our Swiss data is accurate. So there's a little bit of a combination, but I do think our behaviors have increased, or at least the numbers. Referral types, you'll see that in general, if a teacher is going to put something in, they'll put it in as a major, not a minor. So the minors are things that they handle within the classroom themselves. Majors is that they're calling for behavior support, administrative support. And then this is the slide that shows exactly what I told you, that it's physical aggression, out of bounds, defiance. And then this, whenever there's an M, that's the minors. So minor defiance, minor out of bounds. And if you wonder what the difference is, an out of bounds major would be running and you need someone to really help you bring the student back in. A minor out of bounds might be they left the class, but they didn't leave the building. This is very telling. It shows you that by third grade, this year, our third grade is actually very calm. And if you saw the suspension data, there's 0 suspensions for this trimester, or this date range for our third grade. And their referrals by grade is significantly less than the other grades.
John,
Yeah, the thing about that is if you look at the second grade last year, which they coincidentally about the same referral. So it's interesting that,
Mhm. You're right. And then here's by location. And again, in elementary school, you would mostly be in class, so that's not a surprise. And gender. And that is,
Always again.
too cold.
and that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
I have one.
Yes.
Special persons dance.
Yes,
That is what exactly?
that was the father, daughter, son dance. That was last weekend.
We have two separate ones.
They made it into one day. And so they did it on Sunday. It was Masters Sunday, Masters Finals, in case you care. And it was from 12 to 2 with a reset, and then they did it from 3 to 5. It was an enormous success. I think, and please, I'm gonna have the exact numbers wrong, but I did attend, and it was about 128 girls attended with their fathers. And then about 65 or 68 boys attended with their moms. So I estimated that's about 2/3 of my students attended. And I could be off with my numbers and math, but it was a huge turnout. And the PTO worked very, very hard.
Sounds good.
I just don't know why. What was wrong with the daddy-daughter dance and
It was,
the daughter dance? I mean, I get it.
they called it the Night of Enchanted Evenings. I can pull up the flyer if you'd like. And it still said,
Call it whatever you want, I guess. It's just. Thank you.
you're welcome. They did too, because it was easier on the PTO. They didn't have many volunteers. So
Oh, they never do.
didn't have to get one day to get the volunteers for it. They did a great job.
I'm not questioning their ability.
Yeah.
I just hate that they changed the name.
thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Great. So we wrapped up trimester 2 in this last quarter. Right after report cards went out, we had parent conferences and invited parents in. Made sure that if parents couldn't make that evening, that they had another opportunity to meet with their teacher. We're starting to think about end of year transition for our 8th graders going to 9th grade. So we had the high school counselors come down and talk about the high school to the 8th graders, and then the high school had 9th grade parent information night to talk about that as well. We've had a couple of fun things in the past couple of months, including the parent core group fundraiser Rafflemania. They told me that they raised more, I think, than they ever have this year, which is pretty awesome. We had the Monster concert, which represented all 3 schools, and that was my first time seeing the concert, and that was amazing. That was really powerful to see students in their element in that regard. We had a career fair recently in April where we invited community members to come in and kind of show and talk about their profession and how students could find a pathway to that profession or that career if they're interested. We also had a reading promotion week in April. We changed it a little bit last year. We did Read Across America. This year, the librarian and the reading specialist said they wanted to do something a little bit different. And so they picked a theme of baseball, and they kind of had a lot of excitement and encouragement. The goal for the school was school-wide students would read at least 5,000 pages in a week. They read over 20,000 pages. So they far exceeded the goal. So we said next year we have to raise the bar higher. And I think one of the things that helped motivate them was that if they had met their goal, in addition to smaller prizes along the way, they got to duct tape their principal to a wall and throw baseballs at him. So that was my first time getting duct taped to a wall. They were soft baseballs. They were like sticky baseballs so that they would stick to like I was thinking. Yeah, I had to raise my eye. I was like, what kind of softballs are we talking about? Like, how soft these?
Yeah, really.
And I was like, and who's throwing them? And I was fine until the teacher started getting up and started throwing it. I was like, oh, well, this is for the kids. This isn't for the adults. But that was fun. It was fun to celebrate. Yeah, so we're looking ahead. We've had our couple of Rams Awards school-wide assembly to promote students who are safe, respectful, and cooperative. Let's see here. As far as updates, staffing is still a challenge. We still are without a health teacher. Right now we have openings for multiple behavior coaches. We're still short paraprofessionals and substitutes. So every day, depending on who's out, we shuffle people around to make things work. As far as challenges, staffing is always a challenge. Student behavior is still a challenge. So we're going to look at some of the data in a little bit. So I'm going to scroll down here. And so this is the quarter, January 27th to April 4th. It gives you some insight into what we're seeing as far as minor behaviors, major behaviors. If this is going to look more sense than when I show the slideshow, and we can compare. And for the year, so far this year, we've had a total of 425 minor behavior referrals, 1,430 major behavior referrals for a total of 1,855. This overall is about 600 referrals less than where we were at last year at this time. So there's nuances to that, and we'll look at it in a minute, but that is one of the key highlights. As far as in-school restriction, we've had 81 incidences of in-school restriction for a total of 42 students, totaling 78.5 days. For out-of-school suspension, we've had 68 instances of out-of-school suspension for 33 students, totaling 141 days. So our suspension numbers are up compared to last year. I'd say it's about 60% higher than we were last year. So the main takeaway from this behavior is that we're seeing a decrease in referrals and we've seen an increase in suspensions. For honor roll, trimester 2, as far as a combination of honors and high honors, we had 33 students in the 6th grade achieve these distinctions. 31 students in the 7th grade, and 39 students in the 8th grade. So a total of 103 students in grades 6 through 8 were eligible for honors or high honors. And I would read all the high honors names, but that's a very long list. Got about 29 students who achieved high honors this year.
I read earlier today.
Yes, it is.
I already read that list.
So you read the high school.
For the high
Oh, we read
school.
the middle school.
Yeah, we did all
Did
grades.
you read it?
Yeah, we did all the grades.
Appreciate you.
Start with the
Yeah.
first page.
Grade 6,
That's
7.
right.
Yeah,
You read the.
both
Yeah,
did it.
there we go.
Yep. We got them all.
There we go.
Bill got
Got
him.
the names all. Got 'em all.
A couple of fun things upcoming next week is going to be the 5th grade field trip to Nature's Classroom. Then we have spring break. When we come back from spring break, we have the 8th grade field trip to Washington, DC. And then it's going to be the final stretch of standardized testing and some end of year activities as far as field days and step up days, 8th grade celebration. A pause for questions.
Where's Nature's Classroom going to be this year? Is it back in Massachusetts or is it up?
No, it's
Um,
Freedom.
Is it back in Freedom?
Not Fremont.
Freedom.
I know, Fremont. Yeah.
Either Freedom or Leatherman's.
Back in Freedom.
Why are all these kids in my backyard?
They actually changed their name, so I keep last week, that's what I'm familiar with, but now they're like outdoor classrooms, something. But I think forever they'll be just Nature's Classroom. Yep,
Freedom.
yes, that sounds great. So do you want me to jump into the discipline data slide?
Wherever you'd like.
So this is a month by month comparison. So you can see last year, the second half of the year from February on, we saw a really big spike in discipline referrals. That's something that I was pretty nervous about going into this spring. So we've been having a lot of conversations with the leadership team, the faculty, with our behavioral health team. So we haven't seen the same spike in discipline numbers, but we still are seeing a lot of behavior in general. To break it down, last year, it was pretty even as far as major and minor write-ups. This year, we've seen a significant reduction in minor write-ups, but majors are roughly the same as last year. As far as by behavior, last year, technology violations were by far our most prevalent in the data. This year, the technology has dropped down to somewhere over here. So we attribute that mostly to two things. One of them is the cell phone policy, where instead of writing a student up and then us having to go deal with it, we've just told students that they have to turn their phone into the office. And it's helped a lot. The other thing is GoGuardian. So students on Chromebooks, you know, they are very quick with their fingers. They can slide tabs, they can play games, they can watch YouTube. But GoGuardian is a really helpful tool for the teachers, where they don't have to physically be checking on every single computer, and they can help shut things down. So that helps curb these a lot. Still, number one right now is defiance. That's where, you know, we tell a student to do something, they say no in however many words. By grade, so we can see that last year the outlier was 8th grade with a significantly higher portion of referrals. I have since shared that group with Mr. Campbell. So this year our numbers are a little bit more even. 8th grade is still has the most referrals overall, but in general, they've reduced their total referrals by less than half compared to last year.
John.
If you compare them to last year's 8th grade, you do. But if you compare them to last year's 7th grade, they've doubled
Yes.
their referrals.
Yeah, they have. Right.
Pete's dealing with the 8th graders now, or the 9th graders. Which you.
Yeah.
It shows.
It shows.
You can tell.
Yeah, I think there's something magical that happens the 8th grade year where you start to get antsy and bold and they're ready to be done with middle school.
There's a lot going on at that age.
No matter what, you're up here, we'll probably see a little bit of a spike in eighth grade.
Maybe you should tell the ninth graders they're no longer in middle school.
Yeah.
We get that new.
By that one. Yeah. My location is still classroom is where the majority of our referrals come from. The second most would be the hallway. We are working with teams to try to address the hallways by having more supervision and having some incentives for students in addition to giving out consequences. Referrals by gender, similar to the elementary school, male students are represented about twice as much as female students in the discipline data. This is some data about the vape detectors at our school. So this year, between February and March, we were able to add 5 new vape detectors. And so those were the 4th and 5th grade bathrooms and the bathroom in the main office. But I asked our IT department to take a look and pull however many alerts we've had throughout the year. And this goes up until March 20th. So they were able to take out any vape alerts that came in over the weekend. But there are vape alerts that go off in the evening when adults are in the buildings. You know, sometimes it happens at, voting day was going off left and right. So not all of these necessarily have to be students, right? But in general, you can see that we've had about 50 alerts that went off this year. And you can see that they're more prevalent in some bathrooms compared to others. So we use this data to help inform, how we're responding to substance abuse in the schools.
We could crack down on election day and get some bathroom monitors in there. Yeah, can't have that.
This is our discipline data for vapes last year compared to this year. And this is as of April 4th, April 7th. But we've had roughly similar amount of referrals last year and this year. Last year we had 11 for 9 students. This year we've had 9 for 7 students. Since I've created this spreadsheet, it's gone up. For the total number of days of suspension.
Yes.
What's ISS and OSS?
So those are outdated terms. It's in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, but really I should call it in-school restriction. Out of school. The conversations that we've had with the behavioral health team we're talking about how restorative practices work with this. And really what we've decided is that what we're going to do is when students get caught with something they're not supposed to have, we're going to give a pretty steep initial consequence, possibly 3 or 4 days of in-school suspension, and then give people the opportunity that if they want to do the restorative pathway, they could reduce it down to like 2 days. So the restorative interventions are mostly coming from our SAP counselor, our drug and alcohol counselor, Ms. Abby Cosgrove. So she's found a series of online classes, and she's also agreed to take on kind of a restorative approach for each student that's been caught for substance abuse. So the goal is that we balance accountability with support. We're still giving out a couple of days of in-school suspension, but we're trying to promote that behavior that's going to keep students away from making the same mistake over and over again.
Did you say at the beginning that you were going to give the students the choice to go take the full 3 or 4 days or split it?
So yeah, and the main reason why is I can't force a kid to go with their counseling. Like I can't say, hey, as a discipline consequence, you have 3 to 5 sessions with the drug and alcohol counselor because her services are elective. So what we basically said that we wanted to make it appealing. We wanted to make it more appealing to cooperate and kind of go along with, this process than not.
It doesn't, something, I don't know, it just seems like we'd be able to do that, because like DARE, for example.
They can opt out of there too.
So my other question then, having heard that, because can't fight the law, according to John, no, yeah. Can we even reduce it to say the first time, if you take the restorative, we'll wipe it clean? Do you think you'll
So
get,
we can.
I'm just,
yeah.
so I'm trying to get,
Like a full pardon?
you do the restorative, yeah,
I'm all for it, yeah.
because isn't that the goal,
I love it.
right? To,
But second offense.
now the second
hammer,
offense,
Yeah.
all
come
bets
down,
off,
yeah.
but,
That's.
and I'm just thinking, I'm not asking you to change it today. I'm just thinking out loud that to me, the goal is, let's not have them do it again and their health, right? We should be more worried about the health than the maybe repeat part, right? But I just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I think,
So what, by what you're saying is that like we strike it from the record, but they still have to do time, right? Because what I understand, what I agree with is that, there should definitely be an up, like, I don't know how to word it, but like, there should be definitely like a definite consequence at the beginning. And now definitely you could, and I agree with you that you could, like, limit the time by doing the restorative practice. Because they're gonna see the immediate, consequences of their actions and they go, ooh. So I think that's a good idea, but, I think it's a good idea.
yeah, so it's still an ongoing conversation. I mean, part of this is we're still getting used to what restorative discipline looks like. It's also a little bit of a moving target where, what's appropriate for a student in fifth grade might not be the same for a student in eighth grade. But yes, these, I think the philosophy that we've all agreed upon is we want some accountability. But really the goal is, help them quit. And a lot of this is to deal with addiction. So we have to find ways to make them feel connected to their condition.
I would also say too, it also depends what's in the vape too. Determines the consequence.
Yeah, this is all for nicotine vape. For marijuana vapes, that one's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that one is report to the police as well.
You have to report, right?
We have to report, yes. With nicotine, it's discretionary, but in general, the way that the Raymond PD is responding to us is if it's a first offense, we can put that on there and the Raymond PD will basically do more of a counseling session than a juvenile petition.
Mhm.
So they still get notified, they have record of it, but they're not criminalizing kids too quickly.
Kind of jumping on what John said, maybe by the third offense, you said we can't force the kids to go to counseling, but if you contacted the parent, so this is a problem, we have that offer and maybe have the parent say, yeah, I want my kid going, and that way they have to go. And so they could get that counseling anyways, even if they didn't want to, because the parent would be on board knowing, trying to help their child. And they're not paying for it, I'm sure that they would.
And that's the goal. That's the goal, is that the student and the parent view us as a partner, that we have things that we can offer for help, that we're not trying to, punish for the sake of punishment, that we're really trying to just help. So yes, inviting the parents in, having parent meetings. So we haven't had any student hit 3 offenses. We've only had students that have hit 2 offenses. But there's still time of the year. That was the end of my discipline.
Well, I would just like to add on to Joan's idea of if they can complete something on the first try, kind of forget about it, because the other thing we don't want is things to be following kids, because, they make bad choices and there's no need for that to really jam them up if they're willing to do the work and correct it, in my opinion, anyway. Anything else, anyone?
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
What's that?
So they haven't told my child,
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Here's the high school's Q3 report. Q3, yep, okay. So here's a list of events we went through for the month of February and everything that we did in the month of March, kind of listed up here. Kind of take a quick peek at that. Stuff I'll touch base on will be the acknowledgements sections. So first I'd like to touch base about the student recognition award recipients. Student recognition award recipients. So we do this as in every other week, or pretty close to that, and every other Friday thing. One of our staff members has taken this on. They email the remaining staff, they nominate a student who's done something above and beyond. And it doesn't have to be academic based. It can be helping another student. It can be making improvement, anything along those lines. But we did have 4 of them during this time. So LJ Brewitt, Logan Woods, Annalise Hetherington, and Aiden Howard were the recipients during Q3. We're well on our way with the students here for Q4 as well. But that's always nice. They take their picture, they get a certificate, a letter goes, gets sent home. Gets put in the RAM reminders every Friday when it's out. So it's a real nice thing for the students there and for their families to be recognized. We all know when school calls a lot, it's good news. So we try to get that positive stuff out there as well. Next thing I'd like to touch base about is the financial literacy team. So anyone who participates in any type of competition, doesn't have to necessarily be athletics, but we know how hard it is to win some type of title or the championship in whatever field it is. Our financial literacy team, second year in a row, has been New Hampshire State Championships. And so with the financial literacy, it is not similar to like our class leveling of sports where we play a similar size school. This is the financial literacy. They compete against all of the larger schools in the state. And for the second year in a row, they've won the state title. This year, Mr. Brazo was sending us updates as far as the scores, and for the most part, it was not close. Our team did outstanding this year. So back-to-back state titles, so a huge plug to them and the work that they did. Those students included seniors, Alex Lamar, Deanne Harlan, Gustavo Da Silva, Jaden Turcott, Aiden Howard, Clayton Kramer, juniors, Theodore Pekalski and Nate Holt, and then sophomores, Nicola Amovic and Madison Dupuy. And they are, the advisor for them is Mr. Braza. But again, just a great job by them. And then the Scholar Athlete Award Ceremony. So this year, Mr. Gaudet, the athletic director, took a couple students up to Concord, I believe is where this one was held, to get the Scholar Athlete Awards. So we had a number of students who went up with him. So Camden Morrow, Bianca Bergeron, Clayton Kramer, Lily Darling, Caleb Pekalski, Gustavo Da Silva, Amina Jennings, and Abigail Yako. And again, so these are for student athletes demonstrating dedication in their sport, but also their academics and school involvement. So again, another tremendous award to have that many kids going up there for Scholar Athlete Awards.
Can we take a question?
Yeah.
So for the financial, as I was taking my SATs in the gym, I noticed that there was a lot of banners for the sports and stuff like that. So could we get something for like the financial literacy, like somewhere on like the gym walls, just as with the sports, like actual sports like baseball and basketball, stuff like that? Could we do something like that or no?
Yeah, we can talk about the banner going in the gym. That's something we can definitely look at, but we have talked about getting, I don't know if you saw for the week that they were out there, there was the trophy with the cork board that, all the students who went signed. We have been in conversations with looking to get some sort of additional trophy case to put those types of things in and have it be on this side of the school. So it can be seen more regularly as opposed to down in the athletic area. But that's still a work in progress because we do have stuff for our robotics program as well. They've received some trophies and awards and I'd like to get those put on display. So that's definitely something that has been discussed.
Let's not forget past winners as well, when if we do that, so.
Oh, yeah.
Financial literacy one, like, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, they would have a few, so we talked to, Mr. Brazo and get all that, squared away.
It flagged off.
I'm getting there. Okay, updates. So, we talked about on our updates, our quarter 3 progress report. So at each progress report time during, quarter 1, quarter 2, at progress report time, we did offer after-school study hall sessions at that progress report time for kids participating in, any type of co-curricular club or athletic program. That's been pretty successful as a whole. Quarter 3 fell right between the end of the winter sports and the start of spring sports. So we did not have athletics going on during that time. We did still run the after-school program for the 10 days and opened it up to all students who wanted to come in and get help. We did have our, a number of teachers actually in there, so it was fully staffed by special ed, history, science. I mean, a teacher from pretty much every department was in there. Turnout was not as high, but something we still offered. There's just another way, to kind of do what we can to support them outside of the RAM time, the indoor, just regular before and after school times to meet with the kids. Challenges, we're still, big challenge still is, bathrooms. We do recognize that. We are aware. We are down there as much as we can between periods, during periods, kicking kids out of the bathrooms. Do know that it, can make it uncomfortable for kids who are actually going in to use the bathroom when there's a, group just hanging out in there, but we are doing our best to chew them out. We have called home, we brought parents in for meetings. Discipline has been assigned, so we are doing, what we can, but it's just a process. We are trying with that one. Our discipline data, so scroll down here to quarter 3, right here. So this is where we're looking at for our overall discipline data. As you can see, most of our discipline is coming from our freshman class. Thanks, Tom. But the other numbers, comparatively are much lower and something you would expect, to see. Total number of referrals for freshmen, 284, as compared to 121 for the next highest, which is in 10th grade. 39 referrals for overall referrals for 11th grade and 46 for sophomores, totaling 490 total referrals, which is higher than quarter 3 at this time last year. And I'm actually reading the wrong data.
Well done.
Appreciate that. I was on a roll. Let's try this again. All right. Thanks, Derek.
I thought I was
Me too.
reading the wrong
You
thing.
gave me a look. I'm like, something must be wrong. I'm on the wrong.
What page am I on? Wrong page?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Total referrals, freshmen, 259, 163 for sophomores, 44 for the junior class, and 47 for the senior class, for a total of 513, which is again still higher than where we were at this time last year. But as you can see, the freshman class has more than double the number of referrals as compared to all of the other classes.
Well, the whole year, the senior class is less than the freshman in the first quarter.
Yep.
So,
Well, they want to get out of here, so they tend to learn. It's just the opposite of Tom.
yes.
Seniors tend to, or the 8th graders tend to escalate.
17, 18-year-old.
They,
Spend less time because some of them I know just after fourth period, they just leave because they have nothing else because they probably have like a second block lunch and then
yeah,
two study halls. So
the opposite effect.
Take it.
I
I won't care what it is, I'll take it.
Exactly.
Our top 5 infractions for quarter 3, number 1 was skipping class and defiance. disruption, inappropriate language, and then tardy to class. Year-to-date totals, again, pretty significant. Our freshman classes has again more than doubled the other classes as a whole. And I think for that one, if you add up all the other combined, it's still less than what the freshmen have done as a whole. So we are working on it. You know, again, we're calling home, we're sending emails, phone calls, holding meetings, calling parents in, having these conversations. We are working with our behavior specialist teams and counselors and everything else, trying to figure out what we can do to best support them. On this, what does stand out to me, as I said, the freshmen do have twice as many referrals as the other grades. But what stands out is when you correlate that to the academics, the freshmen also have the highest number of Fs at 21.8% compared to all the other classes. So it's
They tend to go hand in hand, right?
exactly.
My experience at least. John had something first and then Joe.
Yeah, Scott, Pete, back to the third quarter. Skipping class has been traditionally like second. Are they close usually, Defiance and skipping class? Or is there something unusual happening in third quarter that the students wanted to skip more?
You know what? Let me see here. Skipping class.
The first two quarters it was second. I don't know if it was,
First quarter, it was Defiance, then skipping class.
yeah,
It was 68 and 66. Okay, then quarter two, it was Defiance skipping class, 148 to 140. So,
nipping,
It's a dead heat.
yeah, we're talking photo
Yeah,
finish.
yeah.
and quarter three, skipping class 98, Defiance 94.
Oh.
They
Could be
are,
betting.
Play some odd stuff.
I mean, they're right
Okay,
there.
I, like I said, I didn't know what, because I went back and I said, okay, there, it was second, but is it close? And it is, it just nipped, they're battling each other.
There, yeah. And if we went back even further to look into it, each individual, I'm sure some of that Defiance and skipping class could be tied together. You know, Defiance, I walk out of class and then I'm skipping the next class after. Yeah.
But technology is not on the top of my first time around.
Okay.
Joe's good.
So with the increased amount of Fs in freshman year, probably not the way you want to start your high school career.
Correct.
Do we have any plan? I know we have the, you can get back the credits or whatever through that program.
Acadians? Is it Acadian or no? Amendment, yeah. This is at the elementary school. Yes.
They can also,
Hayward, I got that.
they can also take a VLAX course and make up the course.
Yep.
If they wanted to.
There are options to recover credits. Yes, absolutely.
Now, out of those individuals, how many of them are starting to make up those classes? Doesn't have to be today. I don't expect the answer to be today. But are they making up those, or are we gonna see an increased summer school program? Is there,
Realistically, we should be seeing an increase in some summer school activities, or we'll see a decrease in the amount of study halls offered at the time to try to get those kids back on track. But time will tell whether, because again, we can make the schedule, we can work with them. They got to come in to try to, figure this out. And I know our counselors have already had conversations, because we are looking at scheduling for next year already. They had to turn in their selection of classes. And I know for students who are really struggling, our counselors are saying, you know what, we may have to pump the brakes. You're gonna have to repeat a couple of these classes. And so a lot of those conversations are happening, whether it's, and they're building those classes as if they were not taking an Edmentum class over the summer, just in case. And if they take that class, they correct it, make it up, then they'll continue on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, so thank you, Joe. What about RAM time? Are we diligent with those students in that the teachers are to add, I I don't know what the word is, requesting them to be present on Tuesday. And then if they don't show up, what is the consequence? Are they all showing up when they're supposed to? And I realize that's part of whether they're showing up for Algebra 1 or not too.
Right.
But I guess my point is do we look at it as the same as a class, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, attendance is taken. If they're skipping, a referral will be sent in. Ms. McCann will deal with that. And Ms. McCann does also set the RAMs, not scheduled, opens up the RAMs so people can sign up. She's going to puts in the what's the word I'm looking for? Can't remember. But she's the one who sets out through the adaptive scheduler, does the RAMs scheduling, and she's had more teachers and students signing up for where they belong than they started to initially. Because anyone who's not signed up, Ms. McCann will see that, and then, for example, if Ethan didn't sign up, she would see Ethan's name, go in, find his grades, and say, okay, Ethan, you need to go to this class, then this class, and she would be the one scheduling him for the week. She's had to do that less and less, so that means teachers and students we are signing up more and following through more than they were. If they don't show, then yes, the referral gets sent and we address it appropriately as such.
And to go back to the admittance.
Admin.
The reteach program, how about that? No. Can we start them, I don't know what the words are, earlier?
Yep.
I mean, in a sense that first quarter, they're coming out of the gate and they've got an F already. I'm assuming that they're focusing on the competencies that they're missing. If they're missing them all, then obviously if they're missing one, then are they focusing on that?
Yeah.
Because hopefully, and apparently it's not happening, or maybe it is, and the numbers are higher because of that. In the passing grade is what I'm trying to get at. And what I'm trying to get at is, are we having students start it as soon as they need to, or requesting that they start it?
Yep, we are doing that. So we do have a competency recovery that's kind of ongoing throughout the semester, the rolling grade books. But at midterm and at finalist time, we also have competency recovery time built into those days as well. Then for someone who is failing or has failed multiple competencies to the point that, you're not going to pass the class, Miss Wentworth, she kind of oversees the Admentum part of the program. So she has had students working with her throughout the course of the year, trying to, those of them who need to repeat a whole class. And those who need to repeat just parts of the class, Ms. Wentworth works with the teacher saying, okay, which competencies here's everything in this one Admentum class. Which of these does the student need to show competency based on what they've already done? So she'll work with the teacher, get rid of half of this stuff. They only need to do this half. And then Ms. Wentworth will monitor that.
Thank you.
I do have to say that I think people are definitely utilizing RAM efficiently, I think, because there's usually not a lot of people staying in their RAMs. However, some of that is due to them just wanting to get out of their RAMs and just going to whatever teacher they might like or wherever they can group up with their friends. But that's big of an issue. I think it's more of a net win in my opinion. So I think it's been going pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. We've said this last quarter and a half, we've seen, a lot more of that. Still room for improvement, of course, but it's definitely been better.
But it's safe to say that we're doing everything we possibly can to help these kids pass their classes. Aside from doing it for them, I mean, they have several opportunities and the teachers are setting up schedules for them. I mean, at this point,
Yeah, I mean,
you should be able to.
Plenty of opportunities. It's that whole lead a horse to water
Mhm.
type of thing. The opportunities are there.
There's no, I didn't know, or nobody told me, or I didn't have a chance, or,
Well, they'll say that.
oh yeah, obviously they will, yeah.
But I mean, because even in none of them, and I mean this very, I should say none, very few take advantage of, even before school and after school time, because the teachers are here and are willing to work before school and after school, where you could get a lot more of specialized or one-on-one time. During RAM, you might have 15 kids in there who want help in an English class, right? But if you're struggling in English, 15 people, that's essentially being in another class again. Yeah, it's more time and you're getting, some stuff done, but you don't have a lot of that one-on-one time. But if you're willing to come in a little bit earlier or stay after a little bit later, the teachers are here and they will work with the kids, and that can be a more of a one-on-one time. But a lot of people don't take advantage.
Is there any way we could start up like, classmates that want to tutor other classmates, like kind of a program where they, I mean, there's some parents out there would be more than willing to pay to have other students help their students. I mean, something like that, and that way they don't have to be in school the whole time, but they could get something done outside of school.
I mean, there's always ways to tutor, but that's gonna come down to a money thing, who's paying them to do it.
Well, I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be something, hey, you're gonna get paid, we're gonna pay you.
Right.
But at least the parents can sit there and say, hey, who's on the list that, kids that would want to tutor somebody else instead of, I think when it comes to kids, they don't usually like going up to other classmates and going, I really need help with this, can you help? Yeah. Right. For some students that are really struggling, it's tough. If they had a way they could just, see a list and say, oh, this person wants to help tutor, and they could, have their parents call the person, or they call the person, they don't have to do it in class or something like that, but they know who would like to help tutor them. So,
Right. That's something we can look into. It definitely is. I know, some NHS would be, a way to go with something like that. See if any of those kids, but, we'd have to start a conversation and go from there to see if they're interested and would want to do it, but yeah, that's definitely something we can talk about with them. Yep. Okay, bullying, report and information here. So here's our Q3 data. We've had 2 reports of bullying, 1 of cyberbullying, for a total of 3 bullying reports in Q3. All of them were investigated, none of them were substantiated. Which brings our totals to 13 reports of bullying for the year, 13 investigated and 4 total substantiated. Mostly reported in person, mostly reported reported in person versus the online website. Our academic honors list, we had a total of 106 students make either the principals list or the honor roll list, which is a little bit lower than what we had Q1 and Q2. I believe we were up to about 130 for each of those. And Q3 here, we're down to about 106. So it's still, if we're looking at that, approximately a third of our students are still making honor roll in some capacity. Lots of upcoming events here. So PSATs and SATs, those just happened last 2 weeks ago, and then today, the juniors took the SATs today. Tomorrow we have the honor roll celebration, so they'll be coming down during RAM time. Operation Cleanup is on May 7th with the rain date of May, that's supposed to be the 8th. So I apologize, it should be May 8th for the rain date. Then we have the Pops concert. May 9th, seniors leave for their senior class trip to Niagara Falls, and they'll be returning on Sunday night. The SAS science testing on the 13th. Then we have the prom that following weekend. And then the celebration of excellence in the Empty Bowl fundraiser. Enrollment data, about 330 students, 329. It's a little bit lower. We have some kids moving out or otherwise out. Here's our attendance data. For the most part, it's about the same, kind of what you would expect here. or I shouldn't say what you expect, but what you would see. And then and that's the equivalent for last year as well. And then finally, no major concerns from transportation issues with this past winter season. We did have 2 holes that Jeremy, the athletic director, was working on filling for this spring season. Both of them happen to be a baseball, softball combined trip. One, he was able to get changed to a home game because we just could not get a bus, called 4 different bus companies multiple times. The other one, we still haven't been able to get it, and their athletic department was not willing to do a switch, which is understandable. We get that as well. So that we have right now 1 event we're still trying to work on to figure out what we're going to do. Otherwise, students would have to drive themselves. But all the kids have already signed the permission slips. Parents have already done all that just in case. So we are covered as far as that goes, but still, fingers crossed, something falls.
What is it doing that?
That game is at Prospect Mountain.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
I don't even know where that is.
They actually got ready to come down.
Before it was an hour and 20 minutes. They said they could get a bus, so they would come here. Prospect Mountain. We're already playing a home and away with them this spring. So we couldn't do 2 home games here. So we're going to figure that one out, but still better than an hour and 20, even though it's an hour-ish. And then academic data, I can show you guys that real quick here as well. All right, so our English grades are here. Again, what stands out to me, the passing grades are the passing grades, and I get that. It's, for me, it's this last column here that we're looking at, the Fs and the percentages of Fs that we're getting, that we got to work on. I'll scroll down here to show you the overall, just so you can kind of see where we're at here. So again, freshmen, 21.8% of their grades were Fs. Sophomore, 17.8, 11th grade. The juniors were at 14, and the seniors were at 11% of Fs. So clearly our freshmen and sophomores are going to have some credit recovery that they're going to have to work on. But again, those options are there. We are talking to them. Calls are going home. Schedules are being adjusted and moving forward.
Now, is this just a not wanting to do the work issue or a vertical alignment issue? Or do we have any idea why it's such a large number of failing grades?
I'm going to put it out there. I think a lot of it is not doing the work.
Just don't feel like doing it?
Yes. I think that has a lot to do with it. Teachers are, again, they're here, they're offering the supports, they are trying to get this information out to them the best they can.
I mean, I have kids, sometimes they just don't want to do the work, and nothing's gonna make them do it.
You can't make them do it. And, and I've heard it said here, I think we all kind of believe it, a kid does have a right to fail, but they don't have a right to disturb and take away someone else's educational opportunity. So, a kid not doing anything in the class is addressed. Phones are addressed, things along those lines. But again, how far are we pushing someone if a kid's sitting there literally completely behaving, just doing absolutely nothing, versus a kid who's might be in class, kind of doing some stuff, but disrupting the class in other ways.
I'm sure it has been talked about, but have we talked to those students about doing an ELO, VLAX type course?
ELO is a little bit different, but hasn't gone that route with it. But yeah, we've talked about, letting them know, hey, you're going to need some type of credit recovery. You're going to need Edmonton. You might need VLAX. VLAX, I think, is great, but it's a lot harder than students think. I can self-teach myself this class. Here's 92 different modules that I need to complete, and I can kind of do it at my own leisure as long as I complete it. However, you gotta do that by yourself essentially. Yes, there's, little things you can log in and do and help guide you along the way, but you're doing this by yourself. And if you're not motivated enough to do it when you have all these supports around you, when you're sitting in front of your computer screen, but just by yourself, it's gonna be hard. So so the VLAX isn't for everybody either.
VLAX, both my kids have taken a VLAX class in there, because we didn't operate here. They were actually pretty good. I mean, the teacher, you schedule a time for the teacher, of course, who knows? I mean, they're probably all over the country doing VLAX, so you schedule a time for that class and stuff like that, and the teacher would come on board and ask questions. So they were, but again, you're right, you have to do it.
You gotta be the one.
You gotta be able to write the questions down, ask the questions when you're there and, move on with it. Get your work done.
Right. And I think not all, so I'm not gonna blanket statement that for everybody, but you gotta have some type of self-drive to be successful in the VLAX class.
I mean, my daughter's taking one now and they make it so no matter when you take it, it's 26 weeks, I think it is, a 26-week class. It's a regular school year class. Kind of when you do it. And you wanted to complete it before the summertime came up. So she's gonna be done this week, I think so.
Which is great, because again, self-motivated, wants to get it done by this point.
Yeah.
And which is awesome, and it's successful for students like that.
And like my son took a class and he did a little bit slower because he wanted to take his time and, but they both thought it was interesting. They both thought it was tough though. It is tough.
It's a lot harder than, it's not a homeschooling type of thing where you just kind of check a couple boxes and be done with it. I mean, it's tough work.
Pete, the seniors, there are only 50 seniors, for example, taking English. I know they have to have 4 credits, but like math, I thought they had to have every year that you're in high school, you have to have an English credit. Is that not true?
Mm-hmm.
It is true.
Yep. But if they're taking it through a VLAX, if they're taking it as an Adventum, that wouldn't show up here.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, you have to do the 4 English.
Thank you.
Any other questions then?
Thank you.
Very good. Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
That's tomorrow, 6:30 in my office?
Yeah.
I'll be there. Will you be there? I'll be here.
I know.
I will be heading out as well. Good day.
Good night. All right, I guess that's me, huh? Where are we?
Students' last day.
Last day of school discussion. All right. So,
Read that.
give us a briefing.
Sure. With the addition of the 2 snow days, the last day of school for students is Monday, June 16th. This agenda item has been added at the request of a board member to consider setting the last day of school to be Friday, June 13th. As you can see, we've listed the required hours. We're well over the required hours. That's where I'm at.
Joe.
I'll have a conversation. You know where I stand. Well, Beth might not know where I stand on this one. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with the Friday. I mean, last time we had a Monday, last day of school. I think it was actually Ethan and my son with their class most of the time. We had such low numbers. If it was a snow day, they wouldn't have counted it.
I'm with Joe. I mean, I don't see, the end of the school year, they're doing nothing except sitting there while, pack out and teachers pack up the room. You can't do academics because grades close at a certain time. So Todd would be thrilled probably if we ever get into the buildings as soon as possible and start his cleaning for the, get enough hours in.
Yeah, so how many grades would be doing work on the last day? I mean, you would
None
hope
of them.
everybody, but
Pay by number that day.
Yeah. None of them, you can't,
they have the last day of school parties.
yeah. Cleaning up and packing up and cleaning out their lockers and not to.
Just say, they don't clean out lockers
I
anymore.
can
They just go use them.
testify, they're not working that last week. They gotta do their tests and get their work in.
Yeah, is that on the students or is it on us? On us.
What's that?
The lack of work they're doing,
Oh, yeah.
right? We asked if they have work that day, then they'd have work. Like at the high school. They come because they got finals. It's an incentive. Not an incentive in the, geez, great, I get to go to school that day, but,
Not a fun incentive.
right, but it's an incentive nonetheless. It's our choice. Well, how productive we make those last few days. You can shake your head, Beth, but it's on us. Management, just like any place else, workplace. It's on management to make the workers, in this case, my example, productive. If they choose not to be productive, they have choices to make. Now, I understand kindergartners and such, different beast, but as we get older, there's no reason why we can't be working. Why are we losing time? Why don't we do it on January 1st or 2nd? Why don't we just have a day off then? Because, we don't want to come back that early. And then let's do it the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. At what point do we say, let's make it productive? But that's all I'm gonna say.
They're not even productive during the year, John.
What's that?
So they're not that productive during the year, like they should be. Like I'm just saying, the last week, yeah, there's nothing for them to do. The grades are closed, the grades are in.
Well, I would say this, if you know of situations where we're not being productive during any day, I would suggest you talk to Terry about it.
Oh, no, not us, not the teachers, the kids.
So for myself, if we were closer on the hours, but I mean, we're over, right? Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we make the last day of school Friday, June 13th.
Second by Beth, discussion? Hearing none? Awesome. Right, call for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
4-1, with John opposed.
3-1.
3-1. My addition.
Yes.
No, I'm not paying attention. All right, so nominations, resignations.
Yeah, one nomination, Heather O'Connell, school counselor at the high school. O'Connell, excuse me, Hannah O'Connell, geez. Heather O'Connell. Hannah O'Connell,
All right,
sorry.
Make a motion, to nominate Hannah O'Connell for,
Cool. High school counselor.
that's it.
I'll second.
all right. Discussion? None, call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. Is that it for that one?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we got a
No, I got
resignation.
Resignation too, I'm so sorry. Lisa Fowler, school nurse at LRES. Resignation effective June 30th, 2025.
John,
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Lisa Fowler for June 30th, 2025.
Second.
second by Beth, discussion? All right, call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Administrative Search Committee.
We're doing the search committee. All right, so first is the LRES Assistant Principal Search Committee. And we had,
How do we do this? Do I read the names? You guys read the names?
you can do it.
We're capable of that.
You can make the motion to.
Oh, if I can, fine, I'm having my own little world issues here, but anyways, is it, Jean, Bernard?
Yep.
Yes. And, Danny Rogers for the elementary school assistant principal search committee. I'll make that motion to put them on that or nominate them to the committee. What is that?
Joe, discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Curriculum
Do we
coordinator.
want to do the school board before we
Oh,
do
yeah,
that?
so did anybody want to volunteer first for that one? Right? And you're up.
That's the assistant principal, correct?
Yeah.
The plan is, the goal would be to have it after break, and we're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday. And
That was before break.
hold on, I'm so sorry. You're right, before break.
No, I thought
No,
you said
no.
the curriculum coordinators.
Yeah. Curriculum coordinators before the break, I was right. Assistant
Alright.
principals after break,
And they're gonna do it on a board day.
Wednesday/Thursday. And then we got to make sure of everybody's availability. That's the game plan right now.
Okay, at 1 o'clock.
Again,
Maybe 1 o'clock time. The place.
Amy will be in touch.
Okay.
All right? I'm just giving you a ballpark.
Okay.
If nobody, parents can make it, we got to figure something out, but that's the plan.
Okey dokey.
All right, moving on. Curriculum coordinator, do we have, volunteers for that one?
For the school board, I'll do it.
Or for the parent?
Oh,
We had somebody,
Dana's-
that's, I didn't know you were, so.
Is that Dana's the only one we had?
Zulega. I'll make a motion to accept Dana Zulega on the search committee for curriculum coordinator.
Second.
all right, second by Beth, all those in favor? Discussion, no? Yes. All right, unanimous,
Unanimous.
and you want to take the,
I'll do it.
could be Sean on the curriculum coordinator? Summer school board meeting dates.
Right now,
I know, like, I got it on the brain.
RHS class night is scheduled for the first Wednesday in June. This agenda item is for the board consideration to reschedule the June 4th meeting to June 11th. We need a motion or we just do it? How's that one work?
Make a motion to move the first meeting in June to June 11th.
I'll second.
Second by Joe, any discussion?
Is that the only meeting for June?
Looks like it.
11th and then 7 days after that, the 18th, 17th.
So it's not listed on the proposed.
Six is graduation.
It's like in
Summer
seven,
meeting dates.
6 is good plus.
11 is,
Oh, so we are doing 2 in June.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so it was gonna be the 4th and the 18th?
No, it's the 18th.
Okay,
right?
yeah,
18th too, right?
Yep.
so back to back, all right.
Hopefully I'll be here. Going back from California that day, so I won't get lagged I'll be here. Oh, crap. I'm not gonna be here for the 11th though.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
It's your one though, Beth.
It's gonna be 100 degrees in here anyway, it'd be glad you're not here. I'm looking forward to that. All right, did we vote on that?
Not yet.
All right. We ready to? All those in favor? Aye. So that's the 11th and the 18th. New revised policy,
No,
second.
we got the
Other
other
summer meetings.
July
and August.
So the other 3 dates, you're proposing those?
Yep, because we tracked it like last year. We had 1 in July and 2 in August last year. So Wednesday, is July 16th, and then August 6th and August 20th, which would be the first and the third.
Don't we talk about the first one in August, the one that we usually talk about budget?
Say again?
So
First one in August, we did talk about budget.
those are the 2 big items, CIP and budget. Those are the 2 big tickets that, yeah,
And the RESS.
yeah. Well, that's just setting up the negotiation, correct?
We have a non.
Oh, that's a non-meeting, correct. Yep.
If you remember,
Yep. Yep.
when we did last year, it took
Took some time.
to do it, you know. What are you thinking, Joe, about budget?
Meetings in August.
Well, there's only,
We
only scheduled two.
Done last year too.
Yeah, but we had the non-meeting.
No, it was, no, it's on one of these nights.
One of the three.
Yep.
And that's what I was gonna ask is what is the, how is it divvied up? When is we doing what?
We just haven't got there yet. If we could get the dates out and then Tony and Steve set the agenda and then bring it back.
Last year we had just said what we were gonna do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not, it's,
I mean, is that the intent is to bang it out those days like we did?
Yeah.
With the budget. I mean, it's so far out and you guys put. I mean, how much work you got, how many hours you put in trying to get a budget done in August for something that's. Has never even come close to anything that we've talked about at the time it rolls around.
I would say for that preliminary budget, because it's not just me, I have to rely on student services as well. And at that point, for them, it's hard because they don't even have the tuition rates for this year. So then to try to estimate the tuition rates for the following year, when they don't even have the rates, that's hard on them. But I would say for me, it probably takes me 3 or 4 days just to prepare that preliminary budget for you guys. Cause I gotta go through all the health insurance, the dental insurance and stuff like that. We're still taking on people. I mean, and I haven't actually looked to see if those preliminary budgets that I give you, if that even comes close. I have no idea. I never researched that.
Yeah, you know,
Cause it's just moving so fast. I don't have time to see where it actually fell.
like insurance, we just make it 10%, could be 25, could be 2. I mean,
Correct, right. And last year we did do 10 and it came in at 11, and the year before we did 10, but it came in at 25. So
Oh, I remember that.
you do remember or don't remember that?
Well, I remember 25.
So. What are we getting at here? Is it waste of time? Like, what do we use it for?
Well, because-
And does it relevant in what we do?
At a particular time, the school boards used to set a particular target to put on it. But I mean, it's hard to put a target on, say, 3% if, you know, if your healthcare is going up 25.
Say that.
Hoping it's not, but I mean,
So at what point does that information come in?
well, that's what I mean. I mean, it comes to, we talk about it during our regular meetings in October.
Because if we're just guessing in August and using that information and then we get actual information later, what are we
I
doing?
mean, like, I mean, how many people will we hire? I mean, we'll hire people, you know, August 6th, we'll hire people all that month, you know?
we hire people during negotiation.
Yeah.
I mean, just get to a point.
We don't know the insurance rates until after the budget usually is sent to the budget committee. Right? Cause that's, I mean, it's in that
November,
time frame
I'm
of,
trying to think. I don't even know if we have the final budget rates for next year right
But they
now.
give us a GDR. Not
They give
not
CMR,
to exceed.
yeah.
OMR is usually in the middle of November when we're wrapping up our budget, correct?
Mhm.
So and we're not gonna know it in October. For me, I don't know why, but I want to be informed as I can to know what the budget looks like. Now, in the last few years, we've kind of given the administration some guidance as to what we're looking for. I'm of one to say, you know, we should be giving more specific, but I understand that's me. But I also think that we should be as informed as possible, as early as possible, so that we don't have the administration going down a path of we're going to be at a budget of this, and then the board says, because I've seen this happen, where the board will then say, oh, we need to cut hundreds of thousands of dollars, and goes back a long time. It doesn't make sense for us to go down that path. I think we need to give some parameters so that when they come back in October, we're not shaking our heads saying, how did we get here? One way or the other. And I think it's well worth the work to find that out. And we can give some direction to the, administration, and that's, yeah. I don't know why we wouldn't want that information as a board. To be as informed as we can
We
be.
already know the.
Because I also think if we said, you know, the example was raised of if we're going up 3%. But if if the townsfolk can't support it like they didn't last year or in March, they didn't support our budget. Is it wise to keep doing something and then the townspeople just vote it down? I don't think that's the way to go.
So we already have the information on hand. We know approximately how much contracts are going up. So we're gonna be negotiating a contract in the middle of it, so we have no clue on that one. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's a given.
that kind of,
Regardless of the time of year, Joe.
that's what I mean. That's why I think it's, and we can look at everything afterwards. I mean, not once have we had, I don't think we've ever had a superintendent in the last, since I've been to the board, come here and say, we want $350,000 worth of, you know, this person, that person, this person, that person. You know, instead of we're going, oh, okay, and then another $1 million for this. That's just never happened.
Partly because we've given them guidance to say this is where we want you to be.
We haven't given them any guidance in years.
Actually, you have been given guidance, haven't you, Terry? We haven't said, just come back with any number you choose.
Last year there was, the year before that, it was none.
Right. So last year we did.
The year before,
But
but,
to say that we haven't done it is incorrect.
We didn't set a specific.
it was
Thank you.
ballpark.
Yep. Ballpark.
Yeah.
We like what you have, we like what we have in front of us. I mean, but
That was the number generated that
I mean,
the administration gave to us.
personally, I'd rather sit there and say, if you want to have a, you know, discussion on one meeting about what you're looking at for, something that you might want to put in, okay, I know that's going to be an addition on the budget. But, I mean, other than that, we're not talking about cutting, we're not talking about anything like that until October. I mean, it's 3 or 4 days worth of work that it's a broad number every single year that one year we hire, you know, 5, 6 teachers that are step 15 instead of step 5. And now we're off like $200,000 already.
What year was that, Joe?
2 years ago, I mean, we've hired many teachers that are taking a ball, still the ball.
That's fine.
There's no one over there.
It's all right. We'll survive.
Doesn't mess the cameras up.
My complexion is just.
No.
Listen.
I was gonna go get you a little powder.
I mean, because we looked at the budget deeply in October. I mean, except for 25% insurance, not once have I sat there and goes, wow, this is not what I expected.
But again, that's mostly because we've given parameters to the superintendent, Joe. Didn't 2 years ago, and I don't recall a time we haven't previously, the last 20 so years.
I know for years we didn't set a number.
Good. What's the rest of the board want to do? Everybody knows where Joe and I stand. Do you know what we're talking about, Beth?
So what are you talking about, whether we have them meeting in August, the 2 meetings to talk about the budget when we don't know what the budget really is?
The budget we're talking about would be for 26, 27.
Oh, okay.
And we have a discussion because in October, that's when we've asked the administration to come back with us for a budget for the following school year. No, wait a minute, it'll be 25, 26, so.
No,
26.
26, 27.
Because we've already, yeah.
25 and 26 is in the books.
Yeah.
And in August, we've had meetings so that the board would give direction to the superintendent. Excluding 2 years ago, where the board at that time chose not to give specificity as to what they wanted. They gave, I think we gave some sort of direction to you. But anyways, So that's what it is. We're talking about that. And what it does is it obviously takes administration time, Marjorie, special education, which is Jody, time to get those numbers together, estimates. Because for example, we know that the RESS, we already know what those 3 years are going to be. So for 26, 27, year 2 of the agreement, we, you know, the number is there, 300 to 400 or $500,000 that it would be. And then insurance increases that we know of. If we know, we have a contract with something and the contractor's going up, then we know to increase it by that amount. Things like that, so that we have a sense of the budget for the summer.
Look at you two because you already know it too.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think like, I mean, how much of it,
New, this will go along
is-
with whatever you guys want to do.
I'm trying to remember like process.
Well, the process is more on Marjorie and
Well, I know, but like how much of that information are we actually? Again, if a lot of that is just estimates, we're gonna plan on estimates. I'd like to know how close they've been in the past. They're, I mean, they
Relatively
didn't-
close, right? I mean, we haven't,
I have no idea. I can pull that together for you, but I personally have no idea. Like I said, it's not something I keep track of.
I mean, like, I don't think the curriculum coordinator for it in August.
No.
No, it's 192 or what, $100,000 right there. I mean, these are things that we don't see usually in August because we're not looking at them right now. We don't know what the budget's gonna be. How much things are gonna go up.
We
What
need
contracts
it.
we're gonna have.
Can we put this on hold until we have Steve here to agree with you?
until what?
The next meeting?
And
Do we
what
have
is-
Steve here to get, what he, you know,
as far as
Well,
what
do we go-
information we're gonna
then
have,
too?
what information we're gonna require for
This is
the,
how the conversation started, so
Oh.
we should wait for Steve for this, the dates too then, huh? I'm of the thinking, we have a quorum, let's function, let's get going.
all right.
You know, I'm not saying we don't need to set, we could use it for non-meeting,
Oh, that has to happen.
so. I just don't wanna. I don't wanna say waste, but use time up that you guys are so backlogged and doing other things, usually at that time of year, closing the books down and.
I guess to move things along, I guess Tony and Beth have to weigh in on what they want. Because we can talk all we want, Joe and I, but we've got to get your senses because it's not going to change either one of us.
Got my Jeopardy clock.
Get me so panicked. I've already started working on the spreadsheet. I'm starting to panic right now.
me, I mean, I don't see the point in spending a ton of time on estimates. Either way, I don't.
You're the,
Spotlight's on you, Beth.
you're the deciding vote.
Yes, why not wait, I guess, until, you know, if he's got a lot of. At least till we have some better, I mean, do we have to put it off till October? I mean, can we just do it one of our other?
Both of these August meetings are gonna be budget discussion. That's the idea.
No.
No.
One would be just a regular school board meeting, because we're gonna hire people and anybody from the beginning. of the school
One
year.
typically is CIP,
Mhm.
one is typically the budget / non-meeting. So there's those three.
We're only talking about one meeting.
Usually we have, I think last year CIP was in July, and then in August, we did the budget and the non-meeting in different nights.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Because we wanted to have,
we basically took those three things and split them up.
right, and half was,
But
anyways.
we need those, and I also want you to be cognitive too, and we had this parameter out there too, if we needed to hire, because we might have a special meeting just to hire too. just to get a quorum, because that was,
All right, because you don't want to
we
wait
need,
2 weeks.
we need to move.
Month,
We got
so,
lucky and it wasn't as, we got a lot of hiring done early. But I let you all know that if, we might, we might need a meeting,
prove on.
prove a nomination or two, so we could have a special meeting, but we didn't have to do that last year. I'm a firm believer that no matter what, we need to have the 3 meetings. It's just what happens in those 3 meetings. It can be, if we don't go the budget route, it'd be a shorter meeting, but if we go the budget route, then all 3 are long. It's on you.
I'm going with you.
She's going with Joe.
Decide.
So are we keeping the 16th, July 16th, August 6th and August 20th, those good?
I mean, I don't mind keeping the meetings.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of the agenda item, so.
Yeah, okay, so.
Hmm.
The 2 in June, 1 in July, and 2 in August? Okay.
Say that again.
It's
There's
the
one-
meeting dates.
2 in June, 1 in July,
Yeah.
2 in August.
11, 18, then the July, August. That's fine.
Can I ask a question about that though? So one meeting in July, but in July, we're paying a lot of bills.
Mm.
So I think typically sometimes in the summertime, maybe we schedule just like a quick, like 5-minute meeting, just so people can know.
30 minutes.
30 minutes, public
Public
comment.
comment.
Yeah, so typically we have to do that just so that we can get you guys to sign manifest just to pay some bills.
Didn't we,
We didn't do that last.
no, I'm saying, didn't we come to the conclusion or we were given, guidance that
We don't have to. do it.
every single
Going
necessary,
into non-public to hire. We don't need to do the 30 minutes because we can hire in non-public. So we don't need the 30 minutes, but if you have a meeting to sign the manifest, yes, you'd have to have the 30 minutes. And we didn't do that last year. We made it work.
We did?
Yep.
Okay.
wait, there was one time we came and sat here for 30 minutes and just
Not the
talked
summer.
about nothing. What was that? What day was
Yeah,
that?
we did something. I don't remember
I
what.
don't remember what, but it was something that was, unique that we had to do. Looking for manifest, so.
No, it was something. I don't remember what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made our night.
If it was to hire somebody and we piggybacked on top of
We
it,
don't,
no?
well, no, we didn't. We didn't have a,
what.
yeah, I don't remember what it was. Right. Ben doesn't either. I would have a little message right here, but sure, I'll get one in 3 minutes.
To get real technical and say, a lot of school board just sit there and if there's nobody here, that's the.
So when are we doing the CIP and when are we doing the RESS? What nights?
I guess that would be up to
Asking the
the
board.
Yeah, thank you. You're looking at me, so I thought maybe you wanted to.
I don't have a order on me. I think we should get the RSS done first, to be honest with you. You know, overlist.
Well, I prefer to do CIP in July because
Oh, I didn't-
as soon as we get that,
Sorry, I was saying, I meant.
In August? yeah, that's fine by me. Just on,
August 6th,
Sits for
meeting.
RESA, whatever it's called.
RESS.
This is.
20 will be budget,
No, we're
CIP.
the budget, brother.
CIP, the 16th of July.
20 will just be a normal meeting.
Okay. Just tell me when to be here.
I will. Your phone number's on speed dial now, buddy.
Are we good with that? Anything else? All right, on to revised policies. Second reading. Okay, ICC, we'll read this whole thing. We already went through it, so can I get a motion?
yep. I'll make a motion to accept policy, JICC.
Second.
Second by Joe. Discussion? Right, call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. So next up is policy JLCJA, emergency plan for sports related injuries. Joe,
Make a motion to approve policy JLCJA.
Second.
second by Joe. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous as well. Thank you. Next up, JLD, School Guidance and Counseling Program, John.
Make a motion to approve policy JLD.
Second.
Second by Beth. Okay, discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Strategic plan update.
Yep, I'll start at the back. This is from several months ago. It's district-wide consistency, communication process, expectations and accountability. We will continue to work to identify areas of inconsistency among the buildings and will provide recommendations to the superintendent. We still continue to meet, discuss, but many of these have been fixed. We have standard templates for reports, consistency on grading, discipline newsletters. We still need to work on those consistencies with the board reports, because I was calling principals at the last minute. But we need to clean that up. But otherwise, we've come a long way in that consistency. Establish a district-wide grading team. That's completed. We'll develop or grade 6 through 12. We'll develop a recommended policies and procedures. See above, because that's been completed. Collect and review data and develop process to monitor and evaluate effective implementation. I think we're ongoing looking at that all the time with the grades and how consistent we are and all of that. Let's go back to the top. We also need to talk too, probably, because next year's 2026 about the next one. The strategic plan. Okay. Approve a school calendar that's completed. Increase the number of professional development days in the school year. The district's currently at capacity for PD days. Develop a professional development plan for the school year for differentiated learning, vertical alignment, behavior health, building positive relationships with the school community. We've had a number of PD days focused on behavior health and positive relationships, restorative practices, one trusted adult, crisis prevention, institute reframing and behaviors. The March and January dates were focused on differentiated learning and vertical alignment. The last PD day was focused on curriculum again, I guess, because I wrote this a while ago, with rubrics and assessments. That was the focus. Determine grouping for grades 4 to 8. That's been completed. Work with consultants at the district level to improve differentiated learning. LRES and the middle school have brought in Mary Ann Nice. She was a consultant that I didn't use, but we used in Nottingham. And she has provided nothing but positive results. And the middle school was extremely impressed with her reading and how she goes about reading and doing that differentiated instruction. So she's been a real nice addition, and we're looking to add her again through Title II funds to make sure that we can continue her through the process. Access with the district is on differentiated learning. The BAT team monitors behavioral health work. I don't know why I think. BAT team monitors behavioral health work across the district monthly. School SEL programs meet monthly to identify how to meet the needs of students. Student intervention teams meet weekly to review individual and student progress. That goes a long way in deciding differentiation. So these teams come together and how kids learn, how they can best learn. Investigate the feasibility of a hired BCBA is completed. Access district-wide behavioral supports needs through classroom observations and data collection. Access district-wide behavioral health consensus. Student intervention teams continue to meet, develop specific plans for students. We have come a long ways with these Google Docs where kids' names are going in, interventions are happening, jobs are assigned. We come back, they talk about whose job it was it completed, what progress we've made. It is a continuing process, and it's one of the things I probably say I'm most proud of that we continue to develop and work at. It's just not so much saying it, it's the record keeping to ensure that we're following through on that stuff. So they've come a long way with that. Ensure curriculum is consistent format for all courses and all departments across the district. We continue to align our curriculum and document this work. Our curriculum is on the drive in a shared folder. This folder has been cleaned up, organized with current documents. Still needs work. I still struggle to find it. I'm not going to lie. I have to ask Matt, where's the curriculum stuff at? He can find it right away. I think that's partly user operator because I struggle with Google Docs, but it's there. It's been cleaned up and we continue to look at it. And that'll probably be one of the first priorities with the curriculum quarters coming in here and making sure that's done right and taking a look at. Establish a reviewed work study practices program to align with the portrait of a graduate. As all the other work we're done, I think that is something with the scheduling, differentiated instruction and everything else. I think that is going to be a huge topic we can move forward in the fall of 25. That's going to move up to the top of the food chain.
Terry, the determine grouping for grades 4 through 8 based on individual academic level. Did they do it in grades 4 through 8, or did they do it six?
More,
seven?
4 and
Six
6
to
tends to
eight.
be more because they're looping in grades 4 and 5. They're looping in grades 4 and 5. So it's a little bit more difficult to do. It's a little bit more difficult to do in grades 4 and 5 too, because they're in one class with one teacher. So they don't so much because you can't have a class with.
I just want to
No, but it's more grades where they're rotating throughout the day with grade 6, 7.
Right.
Yep.
That's completely, which I understand why.
Yeah.
We have Tom prepared when he comes with his data to discuss specifically that, not exclusively, but specifically, how is that gone and what's the data to show? Thank you.
Questions? You done? Okay. Tax impact on warrant articles. Go.
Yeah, I asked to have this looked at because there was more confusion about ours and there definitely has been in the past. To be honest with you, I think the old way just people understood it better. Because we've had the same type of loan out. I mean, we always have a budget, we always have a CIP. We've been having the, I mean, everybody can sit there and, it's going up 4 cents, $1.50, okay, it's going up $3, like $3, $3 times 300,000. I know what it is. I mean, you easily calculate it that way. But people were getting confused, thinking they were getting charged, $15. I mean, this is the first, I've seen it on the town side before where they've thought they were getting, the town budget is gonna cost them another $9 and something cents every time. They don't realize they're already paying it. Even though we had more words there, I think it could made more confusion. And we want to try to make it as least confusing as possible for taxpayers out there. I mean, like I said, we've always had, for the most part, all the time, we have our articles too. We have our CIP article, 2 CIP articles. In my mind, I think we should go back to the other way it was. It just, people seem to be able to understand that better.
I would agree with that, but all I kept hearing is, oh, we're trying to sneak things through or trying to be disingenuous or we're trying to hide the actual cost, which I don't agree with. Like you're saying, for me, if I go in the voting booth and it says an increase of 10 cents, I would rather not. I would rather know that than have it just say, $5.10 if I don't know what it was the previous year. I don't know what the increase is. How does that help me, John?
Yeah, I think we should keep it the way it was for this past March. Few people that have spoken to me about it, all said they appreciated the change.
Both ways, it had the total and
The way we did it
increase,
this year, which
right.
is, it was a $15, which is an increase of so much.
And the town was supposed to do that, but apparently there was not time to
Change
submit
it.
it. They already sent the ballots in to be printed, so.
Yeah. So we've heard it before. This is not the first time we've been, they don't like it. Now of course, neither here nor there about what the town does, but again, I think this is more informative. If people read it, they can see that it clearly states that this is what it is for the total. And it's which is an increase or decrease by this. And I think we should be as informative as we can. And this is that measure that I think is appropriate.
I would agree with that, and I think it'd be less confusing if the town had actually got theirs done. And it wasn't just hanging us out like that, but. Again, then there's no way that they can't say, I kept hearing that over and over again. It's ever since I've been on the board, it's been a point of contention that the way we do it. And people they don't seem to understand it. I don't know what it is, but I liked it this way, like John said, because you can't, short of standing in the booth and explaining it to them, you can't be any more clear.
Well, I agree with you on that one. We can't be, obviously what we were looking at is clear, wasn't It's clear, maybe to others.
I don't know. I mean,
Like some people were adding both the 4 cents and the 53 cents, and you know, and I'm like, well, it's just one number, it's increasing.
don't forget, I mean,
Both numbers at the same time.
there's also people that go there and use 5 ballots because they can't seem to fill in the bubble on the first one correctly. So I mean, you can't, there's always gonna be people that have difficulty.
Never gonna win.
That's on us to explain it to them, I guess. That's our job to explain our warrant articles better to the people.
Tommy, do that. That was really confusing.
Okay, that's it.
No action to be taken? Is that where we're at with that one? Committee reports. Anyone?
Yeah,
John?
yeah, gotta find it, sorry. BudCon was held last Tuesday. Few things happened. One, we elect the chair, vice chair, and secretary, which is the chair is again Jeff Roy, the vice chair is again Julie Loeffner, and the secretary is
Cody?
Cody Kramer. Thank you. I was thinking his son's name, nothing. I'm going through those, and I thought that's not going to work. Nick Longo could not fulfill his position, so there is an opening in the budget committee. Submissions must be made by Tuesday, May 6th, noontime. It's up on the website, the posting, and I've asked Jen to put it up on the SAU website that is open. The expectation is that those individuals that are interested would be there that night to be considered. And also, the SAU, our third quarter report will be presented on, if you folks were available, I didn't hear back.
We're May 6th.
On May 6th also. So those were the big highlights. We also talked about the HB bill, maybe Marjorie can remember.
There's a whole bunch of.
297.
97.
That was brought up, which is regarding the insurance and how they, and I'm really confused because I've heard different things now on how much insurance companies have a pool of money so that if something catastrophic happens, they have enough money to cover. And there's, according to the state is saying that, for example, Health Trust, which is our health insurance carrier, isn't putting enough money in, I think is what I forgot to ask Jeff Roy for the piece of information that why the state is asking for it, or they weren't managing it correctly. I don't remember. And then, of course, Health Trust is saying everything's good here, nothing to see here. But they've also said if this law changes, they're not going to offer health insurance to municipalities. So the state attorney general is asking for it. The senators have put the bill in place. To me, and I think Marjorie and Terry are both on the same page, premiums are going to go up if this goes in place. I don't know how, I don't know if the health trust, if this goes through, could, for example, for us, stop covering us. I don't know what the legality of whatever, I don't know if we have any contracts with them or not. So I don't know. So that was discussed also because of the impact, because it not only impacts health trust, but like there's 5 school care, which we know about, 5 other entity or insurance companies that would be impacted by the Senate bill. So that's where
They do realize that, you know, if you're trying to increase the pool of money, that those costs are gonna come to the citizens of whatever municipality that you're in. Increased cost more.
Yeah, well, the way the Attorney General was, the letter or information from the Attorney General's office, I believe, if memory serves me, was they're concerned about protecting the insurance or the people that have the insurance to make sure they're going to have money to pay out their claims. Again, there's 2 sides to every story, right? So these are, and again, I'm not fully comprehending exactly what's going on. So,
Because insurance company, yeah, they take losses before the losses even happen, they crying out loud, and then they get. There's not too many insurance places that have gone bankrupt lately.
Oh, they tend to make record profits every year.
that's what happened at the budget committees.
So CIP thought they were having a CIP meeting, but it was actually a budget meeting. Someone showed up there. I haven't heard when the next CIP meeting is. I haven't heard from Doug. I'm gonna have to get a hold of him now that things have slowed down at work. And ask him when the next CIP meeting is. I thought we were meeting the second Tuesday in April, the third Tuesday in April now. They moved it, so.
Sounds like a lot of fun on the CIP committee again this year. All right. Is that it for committee reports?
Haven't been any yet.
Looks like it. All right.
Get two in May.
Superintendent's report.
Mrs. Leatherman and I have been spending a few nights out in Raymond enjoying the goings on. We went to Raffle Mini. I think it was the first year I actually won something. I actually won two things. We went to the Monster concert. I think I mentioned that previously, but it was a fantastic night. And then Tony and I and our wives, we spent the night, and Joe and his wife spent the night at the RCYF Gala. I will say this, if the craps table played in Vegas like it did there, I would have been see you later. Because I think I rolled for about an hour
You
and
were there all night.
never hit a 7. I was like, this never happens with real dice. So either Vegas has fake dice, and I'm just saying, I never see anything like that.
The crowd at the table and Terry still over there, an hour and a half later.
And another guy, I think he rolled for 40 minutes before he hit a 7. Just saying, but it was a fun night. I enjoyed it. The food was good, good company. I think they did a nice job. The band was good. They really had some nice things. Shout out to EEI. They really stepped up. They came through big time with some baskets. I think 4 Celtic tickets, 4 Red Sox tickets to a Yankees game. I think they even came in with a signed autograph Jason Tatum thing. And so that brought some good money. So that all went to the RCYF. So it was a good night.
Yes, very busy. It was a very, very busy night.
It was, which is nice.
Yes, that's what you want.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Next time, bring your own dice.
Well, I don't know. I like their dice. I might put their dice in my pocket because.
Right, so that it for that? Correspondence or other? Manifest.
Accounts payable tonight, $493,060. Payroll, $547,174.16. For a grand total of $1,040,234.16. Thank you.
Thanks, Marjorie. All right. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the public minutes of April 2nd, 2025.
Second it.
Second by Beth. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
The non-public, I have something I have to bring up, so if we can do it non-public.
And I just want to thank the students that come out to speak tonight. I always love when they get involved and do things the right way. Yeah, I appreciate the effort. And I'd like to thank them again for coming out. Anyone else have anything else before we go into non-public? Right. I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to go into non-public for RSA 91A:4-3, Roman number 2, A, C, and M.
Second.
A second by Joe. Discussion? Right, Joe?
Yes.
Tony, yes, John?
Yes.
Thank you very much.